There comes a moment, subtle yet seismic, when a person begins to suspect that life is not simply happening to them, but through them. It is not always loud, this moment. It may arrive in the quiet aftermath of yet another betrayal, during the hollow silence following a dream deferred, or in the aching repetition of patterns that feel too familiar to be random. In that moment, a question arises, not why me, but what if this isn't just bad luck? Many of us walk through life feeling as if we are marked by an invisible curse. We fall into the same heartbreaks, the same failures, the same despair. Each time we claw our way toward hope, life seems to swat us down with cosmic precision. The timing feels too cruel to be accidental, the lessons too similar to be unrelated. But what if the pain is not senseless? What if the very misfortunes we try to escape are actually messengers? Gritty, unwelcome prophets bearing sacred instructions. Carl Jung, the depth psychologist who charted the hidden terrain of the psyche, once wrote, "Until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life and you will call it fate." These are not just poetic words, they are a blueprint. Jung, along with minds like Rudolf Steiner, Lao Tzu, and Joseph Campbell, all pointed to a truth that we've forgotten in a world obsessed with control and comfort. That misfortune is not chaos, but curriculum. That life does not punish, it reveals. To believe this is not to dismiss suffering, but to see it with new eyes. There is a pattern to our pain, a strange symmetry to the things that keep breaking us open. That pattern is not punishment. It is alignment or the painful absence of it. It is the soul trying to remember something the mind has forgotten. Sigmund Freud, in his exploration of the psyche, uncovered what he called the repetition compulsion. It is the psychological drive to reenact the same painful dynamics over and over, seeking, not suffering for its own sake, but an unconscious redemption. It is why people marry versions of their absent parent. It is why some keep choosing abandonment, chaos, or failure despite their conscious desire for peace. They are not weak. They are caught in the gravity of unresolved wounds. Trauma does not stay politely in the past. It lodges itself into our nervous systems, shaping our beliefs, our expectations, our very sense of what is possible. And as long as those wounds go unexamined, they will find expression in our outer world. Not because we are cursed, but because life is trying again and again to bring the unconscious into the light. Jung spoke often of the shadow, the parts of ourselves we disown. Rage, shame, insecurity, desire, vulnerability. We push these aspects away, pretending they are not ours. But the psyche is not a democracy. Repression does not equal erasure. What we bury festers and then it projects. The shadow is not silent. It speaks through the people we attract, the conflicts we repeat, the chaos we create. It shows up not to shame us, but to be seen. Life becomes a mirror for the soul. Each betrayal reflects the parts of ourselves we have not yet protected. Each failure may reveal a belief in our unworthiness. Each crisis is a mirror not of our weakness, but of what is unresolved. If the same wound keeps surfacing in different costumes, we must ask not, why does this happen to me? But, what part of me is asking to be healed? This is not victim blaming. It is empowerment. Because the moment you see the pattern, you are no longer its prisoner. The mirror does not imprison. It reflects. There are moments that defy explanation. Strange coincidences, prophetic dreams, eerie repetitions of symbols or numbers. Jung called this phenomenon synchronicity, the uncanny alignment between inner states and outer events. In this worldview, the universe is not indifferent. It is interactive. It speaks in symbols. It repeats messages until we listen. Synchronicities are not magic tricks. They are psychological echoes. They reveal what we are resonating with at the deepest levels. We do not attract what we want. We attract what we are. This is the essence of the law of resonance. If we feel unworthy, the world mirrors unworthiness. If we live in resentment, we receive reasons to resent. This is not judgment, it is feedback. Your emotional frequency shapes your fate, not because the universe is cruel, but because it is accurate. Life does not cater to fantasies. It aligns with vibration. Eckhart Tolle introduced a concept called the pain body, a kind of energetic entity formed by accumulated emotional suffering. It feeds on conflict, drama, and pain. When activated, it hijacks your perceptions. You see betrayal where there is none. You provoke rejection before intimacy can take root. You sabotage joy because joy feels unfamiliar. The pain body is not who you are. It is who you've had to be to survive. But it does not need to run your life. Awareness starves it. Presence dissolves it. But first, you must recognize when it has taken the wheel. Sometimes your bad luck is just the pain body, hungry again, pulling you toward the emotional meals it knows. Abandonment, chaos, criticism. It is not your fault, but it is your responsibility to starve what no longer serves you. Joseph Campbell, in studying myths across time and culture, found a universal truth. The hero always resists the call. There is comfort in the known, even if the known is painful. Change threatens identity. Growth demands loss. We are not punished for ignoring our soul's evolution. We suffer as a consequence of resistance. That miserable job, that draining relationship, that endless sense of waiting for life to begin, these are not signs of failure. They are symptoms of disconnection. Your soul is calling. And if you refuse to move forward, life will break apart the false structures you cling to. Pain is not always an enemy. Sometimes it is a sacred escort to transformation. The ego sees collapse. The soul sees construction. The concept of karma is often distorted. It is not divine retribution. It is energetic repetition. Karma is memory of the soul, of the lineage of the psyche. It is not about blame. It is about unfinished business. The lesson not learned in one lifetime or even 1 year will return. Different faces, same emotional blueprint. New job, same despair. New partner, same abandonment wound. Karma is persistent, not because it seeks to punish, but because it longs to complete. Until we face the root, we replant it in new soil again and again. In alchemy, there is a sacred law. Solve et coagula, dissolve and reform. Before gold can be purified, the lead must melt. Before transformation, there is disintegration. Your breakdowns are not the end. They are invitations. In fact, they are often the most honest moments of your life. When the false self crumbles, when the masks fall away, what remains is the seed of the real. The ego calls it death. The soul calls it rebirth. Jung himself underwent a spiritual crisis so intense it nearly undid him. But in embracing the madness, in dialoguing with his inner archetypes, he discovered the very insights that became the bedrock of modern psychology. Had he fled the darkness, we might never have known his light. Maybe your pain is not an interruption, but an initiation. Gnostic mystics taught that we live in a kind of spiritual matrix, a world designed to keep us asleep to our divine origin. In this view, suffering is not a sign of failure, but a signal that the illusion is cracking. When life no longer works, when the job, the marriage, the dream begins to disintegrate, perhaps that is not a collapse. Perhaps that is awakening. The false world cannot hold a soul that has begun to remember. Pain is the glitch that reveals the lie. Not all misfortune is metaphysical. Sometimes we suffer because of who we are near. Energy is contagious. The company we keep either nourishes our growth or anchors us to our wounds. Friends, lovers, even family. If they deplete your spirit, reinforce your trauma, or validate your lowest beliefs, they are part of the pattern. Liberation often requires separation. Healing demands discernment. To change your life, you may have to change your landscape. At the core of many patterns is the inner orphan, the child who learned that love must be earned, that peace is temporary, that safety is illusion. This child grows into an adult who expects pain, chases chaos, and sabotages joy. You do not seek suffering because you enjoy it. You seek it because your nervous system has mistaken it for home. That's not a moral failing. That's a trauma echo. And like all echoes, it fades when the source is addressed. You are not broken. You are conditioned. And you can be reconditioned. The moment you ask, why is this happening to me? You affirm your powerlessness. But the moment you ask, what is this trying to teach me? You become a participant in your own evolution. Awareness is the first severing of the cycle. As Jung said, everything that irritates us about others can lead us to an understanding of ourselves. Life is not against you. It is for your realization. Even betrayal, even loss, even the silence of unanswered prayers, they all carry codes. They are not there to destroy you. They are there to reveal you. King Solomon, for all his wisdom, still fell. Awareness alone is not enough. Integration is required. Truth must be embodied, not just known. The spiritual path does not promise ease. Promises clarity, and clarity often arrives through fire. Lao Tzu wrote, "When I let go of what I am, I become what I might be." Perhaps your misfortunes are signs that you are clinging to an outdated self. Let go. Align with what flows, and what once felt like punishment may begin to feel like peace. Maybe the worst things in your life were actually the most precise invitations. Maybe you were never cursed. Maybe you were being called. You were not born to loop forever. You were born to awaken. Now that you see the pattern, the question is, will you repeat it or will you rise? Thank you for accompanying. Don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel and leave a comment below so we can discuss. Wish you and your family good health.